There are cars that look fast. There are cars that are fast. And then there is the Lamborghini Huracán STO, a machine that doesn't just move through air, it cuts through it. Every line, every vent, every sound exists for a single purpose: to win. This isn't just a supercar. This is a race car that escaped the circuit. To understand the STO, you have to go back to where it was born, the racetrack. The Huracán STO was not designed in silence. It was shaped by thousands of laps, by the noise of engines and the heartbeat of competition. Its creators, Lamborghini's Squadra Corse division, built it with the same DNA as their race legends. The Huracán Super Trofeo EVO and the Huracán GT3 EVO, both champions in their own worlds of endurance racing. The name STO stands for Super Trofeo Omologata. In Italian, omologata means homologated, approved for the road. So what you're looking at is literally a street-legal race car. From the first glance, the STO looks different. Low, sharp, aggressive. The body is sculpted by the wind itself. Every vent, every fin, every line serves a purpose. 75% of the body panels are made from carbon fiber. The hood, fenders, and bumper are all a single piece called the Cafango, inspired by Lamborghini's race prototypes. Even the windshield is 20% lighter than on a standard Huracan. At high speeds, the STO produces 53% more downforce than the Huracan Performante, while reducing drag by 37%. That's not design, that's aerodynamic engineering. Look at that huge rear wing. It's not just for show. It's manually adjustable in 3 positions, allowing drivers to balance between maximum grip and top speed. The front splitter channels air under the car. The side fins guide the flow around the wheels. And the roof scoop feeds oxygen directly to the V10 engine. Even the brake cooling ducts are precision-tuned to keep performance consistent lap after lap. Everything about the STO screams one thing: speed with control. Underneath that carbon skin lies something raw, something pure. No turbos, no hybrids, no artificial sound tricks. Just a naturally aspirated 5.2-liter V10 engine, delivering 640 horsepower and 565 newton-meters of torque. It revs to 8,500 revolutions per minute. And it doesn't whisper, it shouts. A sound so mechanical, so organic, that it feels alive. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds flat. 0 to 200 in 9 seconds. Top speed? 310 kilometers per hour. But the numbers only tell half the story. The real story is how it feels. Driving the STO isn't comfortable. It's intense, it's demanding, it's addictive. There's no luxury here. No soft suspension. No quiet cabin. You sit low, surrounded by carbon fiber and Alcantara. The seats are thin and firm, designed to hold you steady through every corner. There are no door handles, just pull straps, like in real race cars. Every part of the interior reminds you, this is not built for comfort. It's built for connection. The steering is razor sharp. The feedback immediate. The car reacts to your every input like it's reading your mind. With rear-wheel steering and advanced torque vectoring, the STO dances through corners, light and precise. And then there's the braking. Massive Brembo CCMR carbon ceramic brakes, derived directly from Formula One. They're lighter, stronger, and more resistant to heat than anything before. But what truly makes the Huracán STO special is not its power or its numbers. It's the feeling that it gives you. It's the connection between driver and machine. The sound of the V10 echoing through the cockpit. The vibration in your chest when you hit full throttle. The way the car feels alive beneath you. It's pure, analog passion in a digital age. While most supercars are going hybrid or electric, Lamborghini built the STO as a final tribute to something we're losing: the art of mechanical emotion. On a racetrack, the STO is fearless. It grips like a beast, turns with precision, and rewards those who dare to push it to the edge. But on the streets, it transforms. You feel every bump, every vibration, every heartbeat of the engine. And somehow, that makes it even more beautiful. This car isn't about comfort. It's about connection, the kind of connection that reminds you why you fell in love with cars in the first place. Every time you start it, the V10 comes to life with a scream, a raw reminder of what driving used to be. No artificial silence, no filters, just passion. In a world moving toward electric silence, the Huracán STO stands as a defiant roar, a symbol of what happens when engineering meets emotion. It's not a car you buy to show off. It's a car you drive to feel alive. The Lamborghini Huracán STO is not for everyone. It's not practical. It's not comfortable. But for those who understand it, it's perfection, loud, unapologetic, and pure. It's Lamborghini at its very best. A farewell letter to the sound of combustion, to the thrill of driving, to the art of the automobile. This is not just the end of an era. It's the celebration of one. Because the Huracán STO isn't about the destination. It's about the journey. The feeling of control, fear, and freedom, all at once. The Huracán STO is a reminder that cars can still make us feel, that engines can still sing, and that driving can still be an art form. This is not a machine. This is a heartbeat made of carbon fiber and fire. This is the Lamborghini Huracán STO. Born to race, built to feel, driven to be free.